Hello, IELTS writers. Welcome to IELTS Juice. Let's start assessing an essay today. And before we start, two short requests. One, for yourselves, if you find the content that we upload every day useful, please consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so the next time we upload one of these assessments, maybe a letter assessment or an essay assessment or a report assessment for academic module, you won't miss it. And the second request, an act of generosity. By clicking on the like button, you will tell the algorithm that this content is valuable for IELTS candidates or anybody who is preparing for IELTS. So anybody in the world who is right now struggling with IELTS writing and wishes to have free content that helps them to improve their current level of writing, this is the content for them. So on those two notes, let's carry on with the assessment. Some people believe that in order for a hobby to be enjoyable, it needs to be difficult in some way. Weird? I certainly don't think so, but it doesn't matter. Let's see. Do you agree or disagree with this statement? I'm really curious to know what the writer has in his mind or her mind. This is a prompt that has only one, from the IELTS perspective, has only one main idea, and that is the writer's opinion. And we want to see how the writer, first of all, what the writer's opinion is, and second, how the writer is going to actually support his or her claim. So let's carry on. It is believed by some that in order to have more pleasure from a hobby, it should not be easy. It shouldn't be easy, or it should not be easy. That is more natural sounding in some cases. That's the first sentence is a paraphrase of the rubric. This is fine. We're introducing the concept, so it's totally okay. I completely agree. I like this. It's very clear. With this statement, as a hobby might become tedious, beautiful word, as it appears too easy to stick to it. Okay, as it appears too easy to stick to it. So far, so good. I may have added one comma here, but again, that's besides the point. This is already fine. This is the thesis statement. So this sentence, the sentence and in the end of your introduction acts as your thesis statement. It's the most important sentence of your essay. And in this case, I can understand that the writer agrees that some of these hobbies, in order to be enjoyable, they must be somehow difficult. And then might become tedious as and I don't know if it's and he also or she also believes that if it's too easy, then it might become tedious. So let's see what the writer believes makes a hobby interesting, probably by making it a little bit more exciting or more difficult. There is little room for doubt. Beautiful structure. That there are various types of hobbies, and each of them has its own level of difficulty. Yeah, whatever structure we create with each comes with a singular verb. So each of them has its own level of difficulty. In other words, good, we're giving it more explanation. Most hobbies could include not only collecting specific items, but also physical activities, such as hiking or swimming, or implementation of an intellectual activity, such as language learning or mental calculation. I know mental calculation, so I need a comma here. This is just extra information, which could certainly turn into tediousness. Somebody knows the different variations of the word tedious if their difficulty remains the same. Okay, This is one giant sentence. It's so big. That's a bit weird. The control over the sentence is fine. I like it, but it is a little, it's not a good practice, guys. Anyway, it's better to stick to shorter, more controllable sentences. If you want to show off your grammar, you can show off in a sentence. The sentence can be in one line or in 1.5 lines, but you can still include complex making structures like although, unless, I don't know, despite, because, which, who. These are fine, and you can still do them. But making it such a long one is a little risky. I don't spot any major errors here, but again, I wouldn't recommend it. In addition, hobbies, consequently, without a difficulty rising, I'm a little lost. Hobbies might become a chore for people. In addition, hobbies, consequently, without a difficulty rising, hobbies might become a... I have a feeling I know what the message is. Like, in addition, that the hobbies that do not have any sort of difficulty might become a chore for people. I get it, but the message is not complete, and the grammar is not that helpful, especially too many commas. I have 4 commas here. That's not necessarily bad. If you use commas correctly, I can get it. But in this case, for instance, let's just remove consequently. Hobbies, without the difficulty rising, hobbies might become a chore for people. There is something missing, and I cannot put my finger on it. Another point to consider is that by competing with each other, by constantly, is that we don't need by here, is that competing with each other by constantly leveling up a challenging aspect, is that competing with each other with constantly leveling up a challenging aspect encourages, why is it past simple? Encourages people to fuel up. After encourage, you encourage someone to do something. So encourage, you put the noun and then to plus verb, which is not technically accurate. That is actually infinitive with to. But anyway, if it helps you understand it easily, to plus the simple format of verb. To fuel up their interest in specific activity, in a specific activity. Okay. Now I'm beginning to get lost a little bit, but don't worry, I'm hanging on. I still understand the whole idea. By competing with each other, they try to level up. So they compete, and this becomes difficult, and competition is difficult, and it encourages people to also have more interest in competing and beating someone else in the competition. By having rivals who constantly endeavor, wow, beautiful, to get even, nice, with their hobby mates, nice word, people will develop a clearer understanding of their current level of skill and interest, which, good, often change with the passing of time. That's good. A typical example, okay, now I'm getting there. This is clearer. A typical example of this would be when people arrange specific international competitions such as retro car exhibitions, language quizzes, and checkmate tournaments. What's the, I mean, I'm not familiar with checkmate tournaments, but maybe there are checkmate tournaments. That might be a real word, or might be a real name of a game. It doesn't matter, it's spelled correctly. In order to present their, I wouldn't put a comma here, in order to present their collections and check their mental abilities. Okay, another long word, another long sentence. But I'll survive. It's fine. I am still barely hanging on to the message the writer wanted me to follow. Hence, good connector, by challenging and raising, not rising. You raise something. Raise needs raise needs an object. Rise doesn't need an object. That's the difference between transitive and intransitive verbs. I know I talked about it multiple times, but for those of you who haven't checked this lesson, I'll put the lesson in the description below. Do check that out. You need to know whether a verb is transitive or intransitive. So you have to remember to use it carefully and correctly. Raising up their levels, people would certainly increase their interest in hobbies. Okay, fine. So far, I read 2 body paragraphs. I understood that the writer is a little bit concerned about competition, and also the other one is the fact that if the activity is not difficult and it's too easy, there are not enough challenges, then it might become some sort of a chore or something that is not pleasant for them. So I like the support. It's quite clear. Finally, in conclusion, while some groups of hobbies are considered to be enjoyable, by staying on the same level of difficulty without leveling up their challenging factors and participating in competitions, these hobbies would turn into unattractive and boring activities. Very good choice of words, very good collocation. My issue is that this is just all one big sentence that is shaped like a paragraph, like it is physically appears as a paragraph, but it's not. It's just one big sentence. And a sentence cannot form a paragraph. We need at least 2, and in many cases, 3 sentences to form a paragraph. So this is good, but I would add another sentence, at least, to the conclusion. You might say, okay, what else to say? In conclusion, make sure you reaffirm your claim. Remember that in the thesis statement, you already said that you completely agree with this. You need to, again, mention why and show me why you believe that this is the factor. Why the more challenging a hobby gets, the better it is for the audience or for the participants. So I need that sentence and an extra bit of sentence that doesn't say anything new, but based on the current information that is present in the essay, you can say some normal speculative sentences, something like, if more people were to enjoy life better or in a more meaningful way, then they would definitely start getting or start maybe experiencing some challenging, I don't know, competitions or games or hobbies. 297 words, very good. it's in a healthy range for task 2. Now let's go to the band descriptor and see what it has to say. You were there, guys, and you saw that in a couple of sentences, I had some issue understanding the exact message. I could get some of the message, but not entirely. That's why, although the number of errors were low in grammar, it remained 6. The number of errors in vocabulary was more than the number of errors in grammar, but they did not affect my understanding. So the understanding was quite fine. Words like hobby mate, maybe you look it up in a dictionary, you cannot find it, but I understand it. Or checkmate tournaments. I don't know what a checkmate tournament is, really. Maybe it's a word. Maybe after this I can look it up and see, oh, checkmate tournaments. Oh, it's a real thing. I didn't know that. Like multiple games. There are a lot of games that people play and they know and they understand what they are in their region, but other people don't know. So that's completely okay. And for coherence and cohesion, maybe the most troublesome was the connection between the sentences. Long sentences, following them was a little hard. And the discourse markers, some of them were very beautiful, but when you had, for instance, consequently in a bracketing comma, didn't make sense. So that might be a little bit effective to the flow, the natural flow of your sentences. I don't have much to say about task response other than the confusion with the message just affected a little bit my understanding. I didn't get the details. I got the general concept. So it was in the general zone, but I needed some in-depth understanding. It was presented, but it was a bit confusing for me. So guys, you can see that you might think, all right, I'm going to just throw in a complex structure and I'm going to get my 7. But as you can see, there are multiple elements that will affect your understanding of the message or grammar, and also the audience's understanding of the messages you wanted to convey. And not just by using grammar blah blah or word blah blah, you just say, yeah, I guaranteed my 7. It's not. It's about execution. It's about the flow of the word. It's about the connection between that sentence with the previous one and the one comes after. It's about the words you use. It's about the messages you wanted to convey, about the depth of the message, clarity. All of them come to play. So remember, you can do better. You can train your representatives to do better, and your letters, reports, and essays are going to do exactly as you train them to do. So make sure they do their jobs well. And on that note, I wish you a lovely, lovely, lovely day ahead. Take care.